like to read popular books. Call it FOMO, call it staying on trend. I like to know what romance reads people are most excited about so that I can read them for myself and hopefully find something amazing to love. And also, added benefit, I get to share with you my thoughts and feelings. I was rereading my Goodreads shelf the other day. I came across a feature that I had never seen before, which is surprising because I feel like I know all of the hidden secrets about Goodreads shelf sorting features, but on desktop, there's a lot there that I just hadn't seen before. One feature was the feature where you can sort books by the amount of ratings that a book has. I've sorted by like the actual overall general rating of a book or my rating of a book. I've never sorted by the number of ratings, which got me thinking, what are the least popular books on my TBR? What books have I been kind of overlooking because no one's hyping them? So I decided to sort by that feature and to sort my physical TBR shelf so that I could see if any of these 5 books could give me a 5-star read, an underrated gem to recommend to all of you. Of course, I like, staying up on what's popular, but like maybe we can find something here that we're just overlooking, and maybe we can give some shine to authors whose books just aren't getting enough reviews, frankly. I am nervous. I am also hopeful. One thing I'm never nervous about though, wearing the perfect glasses from today's sponsor, Pair Eyewear. I've said it once, I'll say it again, but I am forever jealous of my friends who wear prescription glasses because they really are just the perfect accessory, and I've always been reluctant to wear them myself. It feels silly to wear glasses like when I don't have a prescription need for them, but I realized recently that one of my friends who wears glasses daily also does not use prescription lenses, so it gave me the encouragement I needed to switch up my style and wear cute glasses. And honestly, with the way that I am online, I really should be using blue light protection. Pair is my go-to for glasses because they make affordable ones that are fun and easy to personalize with magnetic top frames, so I can quickly switch up my look. I'm wearing the Wanda and Tortoise, and I also have the matching sun tops, which are great for my morning walks. When I want to switch up my look indoors, I've been reaching for the navy pin dot from the Classic Designs collection, which is such a cute vintage vibe. And then I also have really been enjoying the red from the Classic Colors collection. Y'all know how I feel about red. I wear red multiple times a week, and I love being able to match my glasses to my outfit. It is super easy to pick your glasses on Pair Eyewear's website, and while I don't personally have vision issues, it's super easy to input your prescription and then do any add-ons you'd like blue light filtering like I have. The best part to me is how affordable Pair Eyewear is. Having tops, I don't have to have multiple new pairs of frames to go with all of my outfits, and it just makes them so much easier to store. I don't have like 10 pairs of glasses that I have to store. I've got one pair, and then I can switch up the colors super easily with a frame style that I adore. And now is the perfect time to check out Pair Eyewear because they are giving my viewers 15% off their first pair. You can use the QR code on screen, or you can use code chandler.ainsley15 at checkout. I'll also leave a link in the description box down below. Thanks to Pair for sponsoring this video. And now let's get into the vlog portion of the video. Hello friends. I am sitting in my living room because it's the only place that still has the natural light. The sun is setting, and I wanted to tell you about On Guard by Kels and Denise Stone, and apparently so does Binky. Actually, Binky just thinks he's getting fed, and he is technically getting fed in 30 minutes, so I can't blame him for jumping the gun a little bit. So this book is the one that I am reading that actually has the least amount of reviews. To be fair, this is a newer release, so I guess it kind of makes sense, but I think like all of the books from this author writing duo got sent them from, I guess them, or maybe like their publicist or something like that, but a lot of these to get through this year, which is exciting because I actually am enjoying this. I think it's pretty good. So this book's about Dante and Reese. Dante is a professional fencer. He has been not banned from the sport, but he got in trouble for fighting, and so he has been punished for this, being banned from the sport for about a year. And so in the meantime, he is going to kind of learn his lesson, and or he's going to work on the set of this movie as the, I think, stunt coordinator or something like that, which I think is kind of fun. And then Reese is this girl next door actress who has been in a bunch of different rom-coms, but unfortunately no one really takes her seriously, and she wants to transition from these sort of sweet roles into something a little more serious, especially as she is aging. That's like something she's thinking about. She's 29, and she knows that she doesn't have forever to like be the leading lady. It's kind of fucked up, I think. Feels par for the course for Hollywood. So Dante is having to help Reese because she's really struggling with the more physical, demanding aspects of her job. It is a Robin Hood retelling that is, I guess, gender bent. I'm sorry, he's just so cute. We bought him this ball because we were really curious to see what he would think about it. And so far, he's neither obsessed nor scared. The other boys are scared of it because it's so big, but I do have some footage of him playing with it. I'll insert it right here. You're welcome. that is the setup for this book. These two are working together on set, so it's sort of a forced proximity sort of thing. They have gone set to like a party together and to get biscuits together. She's Southern and she's working in LA, and I mean, that was like his way of, I guess, bonding with her in a sense. Definitely attracted to each other. I think that Dante has more of an attraction to her at the beginning, and she is like, this guy's not serious. She doesn't realize at the beginning that he is dyslexic, and like that's why he hasn't learned his lines for the role. Also, he's like got a small role in the movie as well, besides just being the coordinator, the stunt coordinator. So I am actually enjoying this. It took me, I will say, a second to get into it. Writing is definitely good, but it's not a writing style I am super familiar with, because again, this is like my first book from this author writing duo. It is definitely well done. It is definitely not like riddled with grammatical errors or like choppy sentence structure. It's just, it's a little bit more buttoned up in some ways, and some of the descriptors I am, I'm gonna say surprised by, but definitely word choices that are not, I would say, always typical for KU. I'm making it sound like there are like huge words used in this. It's not necessarily the case, but it took me a second to get into the rating, so I think that's why it's taken me a while to get into making this video. But now that I'm about 40% of the way into this one, I'm enjoying the kind of relationship that's being built here. It is a nice slow burn. We're not having crazy makeouts or anything. We're not having a lot of like physical touch kind of things, but we are getting to know each other, and I'm really appreciating that. Like, both of these characters have vulnerabilities. He doesn't feel like people take him seriously. He doesn't feel very well respected. He also doesn't have a lot of friends amongst the, you know, fencers, his fellow fencers, and so he feels kind of alone, and so he kind of lashes out by partying too much, or acts out, not lashes out. He's not like hurting anyone. And then our heroine, like, she has been very sheltered because of her upbringing and the fact that she's like always been on sets and like hasn't gotten to actually experience life. So yeah, I'm appreciating the level of depth to the story. It's not like the most heartfelt, most emotional, most deep thing ever, but it is striking that good balance between like fun, rom-com-y vibes, but also like a little sexier and a little bit more heartfelt. So I'm liking it. I think it's a fun one. I'm curious to see where this one goes, if it goes deeper, if it goes sexier. I'm assuming it's gonna get pretty sexy. I mean, like the cover of this book is pretty sexy. And I will compliment this duo, this author writing duo, for their covers, because I do feel like the covers of their books tend to be pretty cute. So I'm going to finish this one tonight and get, I think, like 50% into some sort of audiobook next. And I will update you tomorrow morning on that. Yeah. Hello, my friends. I am here in my robe to do my makeup. I just took a shower. I know y'all all care about this on, you know, my reading channel. I forget sometimes that I have two channels and I've got to switch up the way I talk on both of them. But anyway, hi, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing today, kind of. I'm sitting down to do my makeup. I worked out, took a shower, getting ready for my day, and I'm here to talk to you about this book that I finished today, and it was very good. I am so happy that I enjoyed this. I didn't know what to expect again going into it. I wasn't sure if this was going to land for me because it took a second to get into. Honestly, this was very good. And if you're looking for a fun KU author writing duo to, I don't know, binge read basically. I hate using the word binge. Marathon, how about? I'd recommend their stuff, and I actually want to go back and read the rest of their books. I know they have like soccer romance and like a whole series that I haven't read yet, but I own, so I will be reading those expeditiously because this was so fun. I didn't really comment on this, I think, in the last clip, but something that I really enjoyed about this story was the sort of like different plot line than I've ever really read in a romance before. Different setting, different plot line. It wasn't that it was like wildly different from any other romance that I've read in terms of the plot. I just mean like having this, you know, setting be a movie set was super fun. I also liked some of the B plots that came in for both the heroine and the hero. I really liked to see our hero get his like redemption arc. Not that he was like a really bad guy to begin with, but he was sort of like the bad boy of the fencing world, and to see him really help this girl who was kind of going through a tough time and really needed his guidance, I thought was really, really cool. He got to like use his experience as a bad boy, I guess you could say, to help someone who being seen as a bad girl kind of get her shit together so that she could be a really successful fencer. I thought that was really cute, and I thought the romance was like perfect. It was steamy. I thought it was pretty well developed. Only critique is that I wish the transition from not really enemies, there was never really an enemies to lover situation going on, but like antagonism slash heading off on the wrong foot, I wish the transition from that to having a romantic attraction to each other had been a little bit more seamless. I think had we had one scene to sort of establish some understanding between the two of them, I think that would have been really nice. Actually, You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think there was a scene. I don't know if it did all of the heavy lifting that I wanted it to do. Basically, I don't want to like spoil it, but the heroine is dealing with a really shitty male director, and our hero kind of helps and steps in. He doesn't like talk over her or like white knight the situation, but he does, you know, stick up for her and offer his help to her so that she can get the stunts ready for the film. But I don't know, I feel like I needed just a little bit more of that transition. But regardless, it was really cute. Like, it wasn't my perfect romance. It wasn't like absolute favorite, but it's really nice to know that there are still going to be authors out there that I vibe with. I don't know why I'm so jaded right now, but I just feel like unless I'm picking up a book from an author that I know I love, I'm just always really hesitant, really wary, and I just don't expect to enjoy, you know, whatever I pick up. But I don't know, I just really liked this. I thought it was cute. I think you should pick it up, and I'm not going to keep talking, keep yapping about it because we have other books to talk about, my friends. So I am going to finish up my makeup, and I will pop in from the past to tell you about, I think it's Match Me If You Can, which I've already finished, but vlogged before this one. Okay. I feel like I did not really think about the potential repercussions of this video, and you might be like, repercussions? Like, what are you talking about? The idea was sort of, you know, so I could get through my TBR, and I liked this idea of like reading books that don't have as much popularity, and I was hoping that an added benefit would be that authors would kind of get their shine if they hadn't gotten their shine before, you know? Like, if a book doesn't have as many reviews on Goodreads and on Amazon, you know, that author's probably not like making shitloads of money, right? And so I like the idea of being able to bring attention to books that are not as popular, okay? That's kind of part of the point of this video. But I didn't really think about what would happen if I didn't end up enjoying books, which I feel like that should have been my first instinct because I tend not to enjoy, you know, a fair amount of things. I'm going to talk about this book, and I'm going to be kind about it, but I'm not enjoying it, and I want to be transparent about that, which sucks, okay? So Match Me If You Can is such a beautiful book. I picked this book up specifically because of the cover, specifically because of the synopsis, and I don't know if it's a comp for this book or not, but this literally feels like a retelling of Emma. I saw someone mention that in the Goodreads reviews, and it's totally true. So this book's about our main character, Gia, who's living in Mumbai, and I don't think I've ever read a rom-com set in India. I think that might have been part of the reason I picked this up, because I really, at this point in my life, prefer a diverse rom-com if we can get one, especially if it's trad published. Like, I'm just sick of reading the same thing over and over again, and you know, a different setting, a different culture, like that is what I'm here for. So Gia's living in Mumbai with her family. I think her mom has passed away, but her dad is still alive. Her family seems to be pretty wealthy because she seems to do a lot of like luxury shopping. She works for a women's magazine. She writes listicles. She doesn't really feel like her full potential is being utilized, and she really wants to do like matchmaking. So she has a blog where she kind of discusses matchmaking and or like gossips a little bit, something to that effect. I don't really understand her blog, but she has a blog. She also wants to have a column at the magazine that she works for where she does matchmaking. And so she pitches this idea to her boss, and her boss is like, okay, maybe, but you need to show me that you can actually be successful at this. So she enlists the help of someone that works at her company, and she tries to like set her up various different people, and she can like report back on her findings and hopefully find this person like the love of their life. So the problem with that, and the problem with this book in general, is that Gia is insufferable. She is really, really, really hard to root for. Kind of like Emma in the book Emma, someone who is incredibly spoiled and just is not willing to look at the situation in front of them and see it the way that it actually is. Like the girl that Gia is helping, I can't remember her name, but the girl that she's helping, really into this one guy who's younger than her, but like seems to be really, really into her. And Gia is insistent that this is not the right guy for her, and she needs to date this guy at the office who's like more settled and more of a career guy, even though there's like not chemistry between the two of them. I'm like, I'd be willing to overlook just that, but there's just so many instances where her actions don't really make sense. And the love interest in this book for Gia, because it's Gia's book, obviously, Jamin, is a childhood friend, and I think his family lives in the States, so he is sort of like a surrogate son to her family, which again is kind of giving, again, Emma. They ended up kissing at a wedding a couple of years back. She was like, I thought into the kiss, but then she starts crying after the kiss and is like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But I think she still has a crush on him. But does she? She maintains that she also like has never had sexual attraction to someone before. So I'm like, are you demisexual? Are you asexual? Like, what's going on here? I don't understand. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really understand. And it's not really made clear to me like what's going on here. Also, it's a dual point of view story. So the hero of the book has his own pub, and he is trying to keep it open. His family like doesn't want him to stay in Mumbai. They want him to come to the States, and they don't think the pub pub is a good idea, and it's also like not very financially successful at the moment, so he is trying to like find ways to revitalize it. He's also like a really good cook, and no, it's like there's elements of the story that I'm into. It is fairly chaotically written. I'm listening to the audiobook. I just don't know at any time like what direction we're heading. Honestly, the kiss that I read, I thought it was like present day until I like stepped back and was like, wait, no, this is I think this is like their first kiss moment and we're getting a flashback. I don't know, y'all. There's such chaos in this book, and I do not feel the chemistry whatsoever between hero and heroine. I don't understand their real attraction for each other. And while I'm enjoying like kind of the family moments, everybody coming together and like eating food together and stuff like that, that's not enough to make this a story that I'm like super into, and I'm just so disappointed. Like I really want to like this book. Again, the cover is so pretty. I love this like purple, but it's just not working for me. I'm gonna finish it. Maybe it will change my mind. Maybe the romance will heat up as the book carries on, but I'm not expecting to enjoy this. I'm not expecting to give this more than like 2 stars, which I'm so disappointed in. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow. Hello from me and my Bink pajamas. Hello. It's got basically my cat on it. Let's reset the mood because this didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. I'm not going to talk too much more about this one because I feel like I already told you quite a bit in the first clip, but this just really frustrated me. I don't feel like the heroine ever really, I don't want to say learned a lesson, but I feel like she had to be chastised and scolded so much to like fully get the point that it was really frustrating. And I also feel like the resolution for the hero was so unsatisfying, which again really sucks because I love the setting of this book. I want to read more books that are set in India. So if you have any good like rom-coms set in India specifically, let me know because I'm like down to read more. This just did not hit the mark for me. I think it pains me to do it, but I think I'd probably give this book 2 stars. Like there's being kind of like, I didn't love this, I didn't like this, and like kind of actively disliking, and I kind of actively dislike this, what I hate, but it is what it is. 2 stars on this, and I don't know, I would maybe be willing to read more from this author in the future, but this one didn't work for me. Apparently it didn't work for Pepper either, because he just like got in frame, immediately yeeted himself out. So, okay, let's move on to the next book. Okay, friends, I'm gonna do my hair while I tell you about Love You More by, I think it's Stacey Travis. This book, I had no idea what it was when I was sent it. I can't remember if I requested this. I feel like I probably didn't. It was just like sent to me in PR. The cover's really cute, but it just felt very generic to me, like from the description, from the title, it just felt very blah. Honestly, upon picking it up, I'm really enjoying this one. I feel like this is I don't want to say the good side of KU. I mean, I love KU, but you know, sometimes you pick up stuff and you're like, oh, this is really wacky. This is not that. This is very much pleasant. Okay, I'm gonna try to describe what this book is. It's pretty easy to describe. It's about our main character, Jack, and he's a single father. I think he's divorced from his daughter's mother. I think that she is like not in the picture and doesn't want anything to do with their kid, which is really shitty. And he is basically charged with running the family vineyard because their dad, I think, is like sick and or is potentially starting to lose his memory. So Jax is trying to like muddle through these documents and the accounting and trying to figure out like what his dad was doing with the business because things are not looking how they should given how many people are coming to the vineyard and the tasting room, etc., etc. And so he's doing a lot of work right now and he needs someone to help watch his daughter. He doesn't really want to get a nanny for his kid. He feels like that's like admitting defeat. He eventually hires Ruby, who is in town and at the vineyard, to interview for a sommelier position. And she is very overqualified for this. I think she has like a degree in grapes, if that's possible. He's like, I think you're overqualified for this. And I know that my brother who's supposed to be interviewing you is going to think the same thing, blah, blah, blah. But she ends up eventually getting both of the positions, which is great because she is trying to help her sister get through college, I want to say. Both of their parents passed away in an accident. And so Ruby has been in charge of her sister for longer than she probably should have been, kind of like from a younger age. She's trying to make ends meet. And so these jobs of being a nanny, being a sommelier are really going to help her. She's hoping that this job is actually going to be like a stepping stone for her winemaking career. I don't know exactly all of her plans yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. But pretty instantly, there's this like attraction and connection between Jax and Ruby. They have this sort of like antagonism from the first page when she like shows up for her interview with Jax's brother. And I liked it. I was instantly kind of drawn in, and I don't know why this is. There are a lot of things I don't like about certain books, or a lot of settings I don't enjoy. I really fucking like Napa as a book setting. Maybe it's the Parent Trap girl in me, I'm not quite sure, but pretty much every time it just puts me in the best mood. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, every time I feel like I have read a book set in Napa, I have like been on a plane going somewhere. There's a Laura Dave book that I'm thinking of specifically. It was like this family saga where They're in Napa on the family vineyard. So yeah, I don't know. It just puts me in the right state of mind. It's also a beautiful sunny day today, which is helping as well, I think, impact my mood and my enjoyment of this book. But it's honestly just good. It's solid. The only, like, I guess critique I would give of the book so far is that I don't think this is going to be one that is super, super heartfelt, super, super, like, in depth. And not every book has to be. I feel like I always have to say that. But it's true. Like, I don't think every book is looking to tug deeply on our heartstrings. But I feel like I need to mention that a book is not super deep because I think some authors are aiming for that and maybe it just doesn't totally land, or it isn't quite as deep as they want it to be. I think this author's intent was probably somewhere in between. And I do think it's kind of landing like that, but I do think I would appreciate maybe a little more depth in certain areas. I think for me, when children are involved in stories, especially like a single parent romance, I want the kid to kind of be front and center. I want them to be funny and precocious and like add something to the book. I want the kid to almost be like a bonding moment between the single parent and whoever's nannying the kid. In this book, it's not that those moments are like totally not happening, but they're very generic. And so I think to me, it's kind of reading like any other, you know, nanny boss romance. But I mean, it's really well written and I like the setting, so I'm not upset about it, I think is what I would say. To me, this is giving like 3, potentially 4 stars, depending on the ending kind of vibe. And I'm happy about that, to be honest. I've been reading these books out of order. Frankly, the first couple of books that I read for this video, I just was not a fan of, and things are turning around. So I love that for me. I'm finished with this book. I'll probably be in my car because I need to go run some errands.
Okay, so I finished, I can't even remember the name of the damn book, and it's still like up on my phone. I finished Love You More. I actually put my AirPods in while running errands, and you know what? It's just, it strikes me sometimes how fucking crazy my job is, and I'm so grateful for it, but it's kind of crazy. Putting some sugar-free Gatorade in my cart and listening to this guy sucking on lady's pussy, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, this is my job, is to listen to this and report back on my findings. This was cute. I think I'm probably gonna give it 3 stars. I don't think that it did enough with the parts. I feel, well, I was done with parts, but I'm saying specifically what was missing here for me was the transition from I think you're cool, I like you, to I'm in love with you. Straight up, I was in the store. This man, like, they've had sex a couple of times. They haven't really defined the relationship, and he just like blurts out that he loves her. Felt very out of left field, and then she like runs away a little bit. I don't want to spoil the book, which I'm sure I just did, so sorry. I just think that the I love you came out of nowhere. That's like one of my pet peeves in books. I think the I love you needs to be earned, and yes, there was an attraction between these two, but like I don't know that there was enough relationship development done for me to be like, yeah, these two are in love. So that that kind of gave me the ick a little bit, I won't lie. But it was a cute book overall. I think that if you're looking for an easy breezy summer romance set in Napa, this is going to be good. What was surprising to me too, I will say, is that it's not even the conflict of the book. The thing that the hero is exploring in the book never gets fully resolved, I guess. And this is a series, so I'm assuming it's going to be resolved in different books, and maybe some of the brothers or like the siblings of this guy are going to help solve this mystery, and it's going to be part of their stories too. But it felt a little bit weird to like have that included in this book and then just like nothing kind of come of it. At the end of the book, you get like an additional clue. I guess we're headed in the right direction, but just sort of a weird thing. But just it was surprising to me. Okay, God, she's babbling at this point, but I'm gonna give this one 3 stars. It was fine compared to other 2 books that we have read. I would say this one ranks in between On Guard and Match Me If You Can. And I am really curious to see, like, as the trend continues, do the amount of ratings and the popularity of books have much to do with how good the books are? I'm pretty sure not, because there are plenty of books that have a fuckload of ratings that I don't like. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's like inversely related in this sort of circumstance, or what, if there's like no correlation at all. But we'll see as time goes on, and at the end of the video I'll let you know what kind of my thoughts. Not that it super matters, but you know, just ponderings, just musings. Okay. The next book that we are going to read is called Lose You to Find Me. Am I correct? Yes. Lose You to Find Me by B. Celeste. This is Lyndon Yu book 3 or 4 or something like that. And so I'm curious if this book is going to be hard to get into since it's like not the first book in a series. I mean, it's a standalone, I think, but we'll see. I'm gonna get home and we'll get started.
Okay, if she were a true professional, she would be holding up the books in every one of these clips. I've been listening to the audiobooks for some of these. I know. Here's the thing. I like reading on my Kindle a lot. And also when I read on my Kindle, get the option to buy the audiobook for like $7. And so I do that probably more often than I care to admit. So I do have the books as well. These are actually books on my physical TBR. So this book, I am not liking. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's about our two main characters, Rain and Caleb. The premise of this book is that Caleb proposed to Rain at their college graduation and she rejects him because she doesn't feel like she's had enough life experience, and the women around her have been kind of telling her that no one in the family has had success, I guess, in romantic love, and you need to kind of like branch out and explore, and that is like the key to success, I guess, for you. Her parents are also getting a divorce, so she's just being fed a lot of, not bullshit, but like kind of, she shouldn't really be taking outside advice when she genuinely loves this guy. And then Caleb, now that they are like no longer together after she rejects him, essentially, he is getting his MBA at the university that they both attended. He is also trying to make sure his dad is okay. His dad is dying and his dad is going to probably pass away, I would bet, by the end of this book. Kind of unexpected, his illness, and now he's just like seeing his father kind of fade away from this illness that he has. This book just feels way too all over the place, and I do feel like you have to have more context for this couple and or this world to enjoy this book. Had I seen this couple kind of interacting before and then saw him propose and her reject him, it would have probably been heartbreaking. But as it is, I don't know these people, so I don't care. And I think this book just generally hinges too much on you caring for these characters with not a lot of like work done to make that happen. I don't know. It's kind of bizarre the way that this book starts and the way that we're introduced to these characters and to this world. And I just feel like the surrounding and the supporting cast is just not very rich either. Like, this girl was in a sorority in college and she still is hanging around her college and with these girls, and they don't feel like real people. Like, I couldn't tell you the names of any of them. I also think while listening to the audiobook, you can get pretty frequently confused at like what time period we're in. Is it a flashback we're getting from when these two first started dating? Is it present day? Because these two have fucked twice already 50% into this book, and at first I was like, wait, is this them getting together for the first time? Or is this like in the past? No, these two scenes have happened in present day. They're seemingly out of nowhere. Like, there's basically no lead up to these two fucking. It's so random. This book is so random, I would say, ultimately. I think that this needed, I don't want to say more editing. It's not like it's shitty grammatically or anything, but I think developmentally this could have used a little bit of work. It's just like, I don't care. I don't care about the characters, and I don't like that, which makes me sad. But I'm prepared to change my mind. I'm prepared to give this book a higher rating if things start coming together. I just really see that happening. I'm not convinced these two are a good fit. I'm not convinced that they're a bad fit necessarily, because I think our heroine's been way too influenced by the people around her, but I don't know. Also, there's an infertility plotline that I don't think is being handled very well. And if by the end of this book, the heroine is no longer infertile, I'm going to be a little annoyed. Here's the thing. Infertility does not mean that you cannot have a baby, by the way. Like, that would be sterility. But I don't like when infertility is used as a plot device. When it is, someone believing that they've been infertile their whole life and then by the end of the book they're pregnant, that tends to really irk me. I'm also nervous about that. Okay. I am going to plug in my AirPods, though. I was going to say go to town. That's not what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to be finishing this book. How about that? I'll see y'all when the sun sets. Okay, so I finished it, and I appreciated certain things about this book, I will say. I didn't like it, but I can admit that there were parts of this that I thought were pretty good. Mostly the relationship between our heroine, Rain, and her parents. There's a moment where our heroine's mom is very shitty and immature. I thought it was very well done. I think often in romance we get parents that are absent, or parents that are just normal and caring. And every once in a while we'll get like neglectful parents, but parents that are immature and offer shitty advice, I think are far and few between. Few and far between? I always get that wrong. I don't know why. Didn't before I got on the internet. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that that was realistic. I wish that our heroine's mom had apologized. I wish our heroine had held mom accountable for some of the shit that she said, but I think it was also realistic that that didn't necessarily happen very well, because that doesn't always happen in real life. Sometimes you just have to accept people for who they are. I also think that our hero's consistent and persistent internal dialogue about his dad and his dad dying made a lot of sense. It didn't make for the most enjoyable read because of that, but it made sense as to sadness and the fact that everything in his life really revolved around trying to make sure his dad was happy in his final, days and months and whatever. Romance itself, though, I can't say that I liked at all. Felt like this book was strangely sex forward for a book that I think was trying to be deeply emotional. These two only seemed to really connect when they were having sex, and eventually our heroine does, divulge her endometriosis diagnosis. I don't like that was a plot point in the book, but I will say To this book's credit, at least, the endo did not become something that was cured or something that's a temporary setback for infertility. Like, our heroine does not have a baby at the end of this. And she does talk about like starting a family in some way with her, partner, but like no concrete plans on that, which I appreciated. I liked that they got to, I guess, just like enjoy their time with each other and enjoy being godparents. God, I like can't fully articulate what about this didn't work besides what I've already told you. There's just sort of indefinable quality that just didn't really work for me. I think if you like Brittany C. Cherry's books, you might enjoy this. I would recommend maybe starting with the first book in the series because I just don't think that this could really, I don't think this operates well as like a standalone book, which is kind of a bummer. I would maybe read from this author in the future, see if like any of their books, work for me, but this one just didn't. Okay, friends, I am like 40% into Stealing for Keeps. I don't know the exact percentage because I'm actually listening to the audiobook for this, and Audible fucking sucks and just never tells me, how far into a book I am. If there's like a hack figuring that shit out besides doing math, let me know because I would love to hear it. Also, cat hair. We love it. Stealing for Keeps is a YA book. I probably should have known that looking at the cover. Frost Lake High School book 1, but reading comprehension for me at an all-time low. And also, don't look deeply at the covers of books. Someone pointed out to me recently that it's not a spoiler to say that the most recent Elsie Silver book has wrestling in it because there's a wrestling mask on the cover of the book. And honestly, I wouldn't have known that even though I read the book. It's a character flaw that I should work on, I'm assuming. But YA book, main characters are Austin and Claire. Claire was an aspiring figure skater, but she got injured before the story started. And now she's trying to kind of figure out what she's going to do with her life. She never thought she was going to be really good at academics, or she's never really been that great at academics. She's not like a terrible student, but just kind of like a BC student, not really in any honors classes. Like figure skating was going to be her ticket, I guess, to university and or just to having passion and zest for life. She, I think, got dumped by her boyfriend not because she couldn't skate, but kind of like he is the captain of the soccer team at their school. That's like a very big deal. I guess couldn't relate to the fact that she was no longer a competitive athlete, which I think is a little crazy, but high schoolers are stupid, so not that surprising. Now, Austin has come to town because he wants to be a soccer player, I think, on like a high level, and the high school in, I think, Michigan, I think he moved from Arizona, is his ticket there. Frost Lake High has like the best soccer team ever. Complicated when he kisses Claire on a dare at a party and they both kind of start falling for each other, but we know that Claire's ex wants to get back with her, and this guy is like new to the school and he doesn't want to piss off the captain of the soccer team that he's on. It would like make things awkward, and he's always had a hard time making friends, but like it doesn't come easy to him, I guess. He doesn't want to fuck things up, so they're kind of fighting their attraction for each other. And since they're in high school, they get into some shenanigans that like pisses Claire's mom off. She tells him like never to come around again. I think that this is well written. I feel like the characters' motivations and the characters' emotions feel very real. I can really respect that. Am I loving this? No. This book, I don't think I've told you guys the origins of all of these books, but this book in particular was sent to me in PR. I can't remember if I requested it or not. I don't think I would have requested it had I known it was YA. I'm not like anti-YA. In fact, I am working on a project right now that has quite a few YA books included. I'm not like anti-YA, but I don't know. This story just doesn't have a really unique angle on it. And it's not that books have to have a unique angle, but it's just kind of a typical sports romance. It's YA, so I don't want to say there's not going to be space, but like, I tend to prefer reading about characters who are older. The thing that I do appreciate though about reading YA as opposed to adult books is that, again, because there is no spice, we have more emphasis on the character development and on the relationship development, which I really appreciate. At least I'm hoping that there's no spice in this book. It's cute. It's nothing like remarkable, but it's cute. Okay, friends, Stealing for Keeps. Can confirm this never got smutty. Thank the Lord. I didn't expect it to. It is, again, a YA book, but I think sometimes the lines can be blurry with what authors, again, consider to be like YA versus new adult in terms of age range, but this was definitely a YA book. I just feel like for a YA romance, this wasn't that spectacular. And I haven't read YA romance in a while, but I still have some YA romance on my shelves that I feel like did something a little unique, did something a little bit original, right? Thinking back to the ones I loved when I was little, like Sarah Dessen, I feel like those tended to handle more, I don't want to say like real world issues than this book did, but no, I just feel like the emotional topics landed differently in some of those books. And oh God, who else? Author that I'm thinking of in my head. Her name's Jen somebody. She wrote some like YA YA romances that I really enjoy and still have on my shelves. And I read those as an adult and enjoyed them. Anyway, this I just think was a little too basic for me, which, comparing this to other, again, YA romances, it does have some issues beyond just the romance, which is like what I like about YA. It tends to, actually have some development for the characters beyond just their romantic relationship. This, I would say, like the main thing that I took away from it was the heroine's relationship with her mom and like finally kind of getting to talk about how she felt neglected by her mom. I don't know. I thought that was a nice detail and something that I don't think is discussed often enough in books. Complicated relationships with parents. It's usually like parents are really, really nice, maybe potentially overbearing, or they're like assholes, neglectful, etc. And the kind of in between, I feel like I don't see as often. So no, I kind of liked that. And I think I said that about another book. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is like a 3-star read for me. It was perfectly acceptable, perfectly fine, not like my favorite book ever. And so it does have me kind of revisiting something that I think I talked about earlier on in the video, which is this idea of like, do ratings and the number of ratings and the popularity of a book have anything to do with how good a book is? Obviously not. I think that is kind of evident. First book that I read for this video, the one that has the least amount of ratings, On Guard, is definitely my favorite book that I read for this video. I think that honestly a lot of y'all would really, really like that. I gave that one 4 stars and you should definitely pick it up. I also really enjoyed that Stacey Travis book. I thought that one was good. The other 3, I think depending on what you're looking for, like any of them could probably fit the bill. They're not like bad books. They just like didn't totally rock my world, which is fine. But yeah, I think obviously like ratings and number of ratings have nothing to do with how good a book is. In terms of like greater reflections, I would say that this has me curious about picking up even more underrated books. Love to be able to read underrated books and recommend them to you. Like I like reading the popular stuff. I like kind of knowing what's hot, whether or not I like the books that are hot. I also think it's valuable to like be able to get recommendations from me that you can't necessarily get everywhere. So yeah, it does have me curious about reading more of the underrated books in Kindle Unlimited specifically, or just, like in romance in general. So maybe in the comments, let me know what some of your like favorite underrated romances are. I would love to know, or just favorite underrated books in general, because the ones that I had on my shelves happened to be romance. I didn't seek out romance for this video, but all of my like least rated books were romance. I'm gonna leave you, and you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to write up a review on Goodreads for On Guard so that it has another review to join the, I think like 600-ish. See change, I guess, be the change. I don't know. Thanks for watching this though. I had a fun time doing it, and I'm glad that I did because it was a fun way to get more books off of my physical TBR. So next month I'm gonna be doing the most popular books on my TBR video, so be on the lookout for that. I love y'all so much. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.